there's a TikTok of this guy where he's describing a way to turn your penis and balls into a hamburger, where you tuck your
What?
dude, it's crazy.
Magic time travel takes this playwright back to ancient Greek to meet like Socrates, for example. You should look up real quick if Socrates was in fact a playwright.
Like, imagine if the city of Philadelphia and Gritty
presents.
imagine if they gave an award to that one dude who ate 50 rotisserie chickens in a row. You hear about that?
It's like I'm Zeus. Like
he's like,
I'm busy. Like,
right? Like,
you're one guy. Let's say you're just growing crops. You're just growing your carrots.
this all started from grow, harvest, and eat a food item.
Yeah, that's how we got onto this permaculture thing. But we're going back to this grow, harvest, and eat a food item. Even in Minecraft. Let's say you're just growing carrots. or even you're just growing wheat. And you can make bread. And you can do whatever with the wheat when you do it. And you probably have a composter, and you can throw extra seeds or extra wheat into the composter and make bone meal, so you get fertilizer. But that's all coming from this one plant, and it's very limited use. And it's just making bread or whatever you can do with other things you have, and wheat. And it's just making some bone meal from throwing seeds into the composter. But if you just add in another crop, say you're growing trees, which I don't know how, if you're a serious Minecraft player, you might have tried cutting off the leaves from the trees with shears and throwing those into the composter. And that generates buckets of bone meal compared to the normal crops and seeds that you can throw in there and anything like that. So just by doing wheat and trees, now you're doing a bunch more productivity and just the yield of, and I'm not saying growing more wheat, like with more, you don't have to add a second, like you don't have to expand your wheat field and use your hoe to make more harvest blocks and grow more wheat, but you just have a second plant in that same kind of space. You're not taking up more ground. You're using the same area, but you're generating 3 or 4 times as much food just by having an ecosystem involved. Yeah. And that's how, in real life, that's how permaculture basically works. I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that because...
Well, yeah, you explained it in Minecraft terms.
Yeah. Well, and I also explained it with two
minimal amount of
species
steps.
Plants. Yeah, whereas...
Normally,
in
there's
real
a lot
life,
more steps, a lot more plants, a lot
I've
more
heard
variables.
it described as you look at the area, you know, if you have a backyard, you garden to your backyard, and if you live like near a forest, this is perfect. You go into your backyard, maybe you have a tree line, maybe you have just plants in your area, even just grass. You just say, like, what is here? And it's like, what plants can I basically incorporate? Like, I replace this tree that's already in my yard, I just replace that with a type of tree that grows food. Or, like, you know what I mean? Things like that is essentially how permaculture works. You just kind of replace the ecosystem that is
oak
there.
Tree in my backyard
with an apple tree
instead. A lemon tree.
Or a lemon
and make
tree.
A bunch of lemon meringue pies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if these are accurate, but that's how I think it works. You just replace the things that are already in the ecosystem with versions of them that are going to make food. And then you have a functioning food ecosystem. This is a great way to start the year because we've got our first user submissions, right?
Oh my goodness.
You know what it is. You haven't told me.
I've seen it. Let me pull it up.
You know what I think you should do?
What's up?
I was thinking about this because I don't want you to tell me what it is before we start.
What you thinking?
I want to be surprised. I want everyone to know that it's all fresh takes. You only just saw these like before we. You haven't even checked until right before we started because we're both fresh on these ideas.
Yeah, this is.
But
insane.
I want you to introduce the show, and I want you to start with your nickname or intro first. So. I'll try and just do it based on yours, and then, I don't know, though. I'll have to just kind of get an idea of what we're doing based on that.
Okay, I mean, so you want me to just, like... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Content Factory. Here we are, and today I am Xavier Davey, also known as the Abominable Snowman. Here I am, joined by my co-host...
Carson the Angelus. The Sasquatch.
And I don't know, man. Here we are. It's a new year. Not yet, but technically it is.
Can I do a new intro?
Yeah, do it.
Go
ahead.
It's tough to do in the moment. Can you do yours again? I'll just do it live.
What? I can't do.
Just say you're the abominable.
Yeah, I'm the abominable. I'm still the abominable snowman. Hey, my name is Frick. Well, that's Content Factory for you. I'm still Zave Davey, the abominable snowman.
I'm Carson the Angelus. Sorry, can we start over, please?
I can't.
We got this time.
I want to restart my life, dude.
Okay, go right now.
Yep, I'm done.
Okay.
Alright, I'm back.
He's back. He paused it. Restart from last checkpoint.
I am still.
I'm Carson DeAngelis, Bigfoot with a micro penis.
What is happening? What is happening?
It's Content Factory.
And okay, it's a new year. I think this is. Yeah, this is definitely gonna go out in 2023.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be around. I don't have enough wrist space to be able to finish that.
He looked at his wrist as if he were wearing a watch, which he isn't, and so he doesn't have enough wrist space to get this done.
But what I am excited about is that for the first time after 6 weeks of running Content Factory, we have our first submission.
Oh, great.
Somebody has gone to content.gives, filled out the submission form, and given us an actual submission.
Now they come rolling in, yeah.
Yeah, they come rolling in. So as we had guaranteed, right? As we promised, we are going to do the entire episode on the first one, which is here, but I want to read to you. There are 2 responses.
I don't know. Shouldn't you save the second one for next time? Technically?
I don't think the second one is an actual prompt, which is why I want to read it.
Then go ahead.
So, the first prompt, the one we probably will be doing here.
Wait, shouldn't you? I feel like you should maybe do the second one first.
Okay,
let's lead up to the big reveal.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Okay.
Not that it was in the title.
Yeah. yeah. Okay, well, this is all gonna be censored, but I'm assuming you know this person. I don't know. But it says I'm Dio Landon from Union, NJ. I have no clue who that is.
I've never heard of a person named Dio Landon. I don't think.
I don't know who that is. But that's the entire. That's the entire response.
Wait, what?
That is the entire.
Just the name from where they're from. Can you read it to me one more time?
Wait, hold on. I'm an imbecile.
Why is that? Were you not reading the whole thing?
Yeah, no, I wasn't reading the whole thing.
Wow. Okay, read me the whole thing now, or maybe save that.
No. Actually, as it turns out, I'm an imbecile. There's actually 2 prompts. There's 2 boxes that they need to respond to. There's not 2 responses. There's actually just one. This is the one and only one. They did. They did exactly what we asked them to do, which is that.
But we
asked them to give.
Yes, this is the first one.
Literally, this is proof that this is someone we don't know. This is a real life person who said they are this person. So shout out to Dio from NJ. I won't censor that. Thanks, Dio.
Love you, Dio.
Well, the idea here, get this, right? I want to write a play about a homeless, failed playwright who sneaks into an abandoned theater for shelter and winds up getting approached by a Greek muse who wants to help him write the play that will save his life. And it's crazy because this is a play format already. It's not like a traditional like movie or TV show. So you kind of do get the on-stage directions.
Yeah.
You can have the music cue in, and that's like someone off stage playing it in ragtime. Like there's so much you can do with that. Okay. Here, do you want me to pull this up on a screen?
But few settings, too. Yeah, you don't want to do a lot of traveling in plays, either. Unless you want to do, like, a minimalist, like, our town thing, which is also an option.
I can't believe it. Honestly,
I can't believe it's someone we don't know. That's
like 20 minutes ago.
Just like, I just can't believe it's someone we don't know.
Before we started recording, and you were like,
relatives.
"Hey, man, did we get any responses?" And by default, I said no. I hadn't checked in like a week, but simply because every single time I've gone and checked it, there's been none. I was like, no. Insane to me that there's actually a response here. Shout out to Dio. Homeless failed playwright sneaks into an abandoned theater for shelter. Winds up getting approached by a Greek muse who wants to help him write the play that will save his life. So when I'm imagining
the idea of it being a Greek muse.
Yeah, because that adds so much more like pizzazz to it. You know?
And fantasy.
Yeah, that too, and yeah.
We have to add
something with
mythological elements.
You know what? Why can't we have elves involved?
Well,
okay, maybe too
you're
high
right,
fantasy.
but except that's more specifically that's like Norse, but I'm not ruling out an idea of a clash of mythologies story, but that's a little high concept. I like we should add more Greek mythology.
Yeah, I feel like that is a good draw because whoever. Well, shout out to Dio for submitting this. Dio, I don't know for certain, but I feel like by referencing by a Greek muse here, adding in other Greek elements for sure would enhance that story. That's probably
my first question, and I'm not sure if this is even the first question that we should answer, but is whether this is modern, like, or if this is ancient Greece, like, because ancient Greek playwright was a very real profession,
a real job,
and to be failing at that when that could be such a lucrative thing, like that it would make sense to go after that, just like and we have that in our modern lives.
That would be a
to
really
show a fantasy, but still like historical world. Like you never see that in like the context of a failing artist. Like it's always like some kind of war or something. Like I think that would be a great way to do that. But I also like the idea of Percy Jacksoning some gods into like maybe it's even like Broadway. You could do this a lot of different ways. I don't want to pigeonhole us right away. Maybe we figure out the character first, what the story is, and then we'll kind of know where we want it to be.
The biggest Metal Gear Solid exclamation point alert that I'm getting is the homeless and failed part of being a playwright. Like they can being a playwright can already be like pre-established from their story. That can be like given in your first couple of shots, or if this is a play in the first like setup, you can have the dude writing on something. It's a matter of why are they homeless and why are they failed? Like what? How if that's the starting
answer to both.
Yeah, but like if that's the starting point, we need something that's like fresh off the heels, Like if they're you want to write a play about homeless failed playwright, it's got to be like, are we starting with how they became homeless, or are they on the street homeless? Right? If they're on the street homeless, then they can refer to the things that's happened in their past as, things that have happened. That can come through in a line or two that
can come through in the play. Like they're telling instead of doing flashbacks, like that's all told through the writing of the play. That could be a really fun mechanic. That could be great. Here's what I want to focus on. You're saying, where do we start? Like, where's the making it like a fresh take right off the bat? Like, right? What is the phrase you said? Hot on the heels or something like that? Yeah,
you want to be able to like drop in essentially and know that this is homeless failed playwright. Both the two real adjectives that just need to be explained, described are homeless and failed. So for homeless, it's got to be like,
and then playwright also.
Maybe he's like, I feel like
he's okay. So he's like clearly homeless and like wearing rags and has like the worst of things. He's like wakes up in a outside like he's
one of
sleeping
the three
in some
has to be the anchor.
I'm sorry.
One of the three adjectives has to be the anchor.
Maybe
of them they already are them before, but the other two are like what they're getting. like as the story. Like, so what you're
Okay.
describing right now is a person who's already homeless,
Already
decides,
failed, already a playwright.
Already homeless, already failed, decides to become a playwright, and then maybe that is
Oh,
the
maybe,
starting point.
yeah.
Or maybe they're already a playwright,
I
and
was
then
thinking,
they become homeless
what I
and
was-
fail.
Yeah,
Or
what I was
they're
gonna say
already
is
failed
maybe
then
they
they
become
become-
homeless then, because what I was gonna say is they're already failing as a playwright. Because I want, like, the first scene. Then, if you don't want to start with them just like waking up at their house or whatever, like you got to start with an actual. You always want to avoid. You always want to avoid starting with someone waking up in bed. That's like screenwriter
just-
suicide, you know. So starting
resident
with him
sleeper,
like
am I right?
at the theater. Like he's like, you start with him going into the theater, going past people, and they're all like avoiding him because he's a beggar. You know what I mean? Or not yet, right? Because if you're saying we want him to become one of these three, so we want him to become homeless, but he's a very stressed man because he's in debt and everything. He's failing, and he's got this like manuscript in his hands, and he's like going and showing it to. I don't know. We have to do some Googling, frankly. But like, if it's an ancient setting, or a modern setting, either way, like whoever that, like, you know, I guess then what the equivalent of like the producer would be, or a director. Like, if it's probably the same person in. I don't know. I really don't know how the organizational structure of the Greek theater system would have been, but you know, he's going and trying to sell his
like an
scripts,
amphitheater.
basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
I feel like it.
and they're already dismissive when he gets to like, you again, like
we got two
already told you
options.
we don't want your stories.
We can look it up and try to get like a somewhat legitimate feeling thing where it's like, okay, this has a potential. We looked up the
Yeah.
rules, regulations, figured out our terms and conditions and how we can slide between them. Or we can completely not look at any of it and have it just be like what is.
I don't know
What
though.
is
That's
there?
always, I feel like, one of the more toxic habits of like Hollywood, of just like if we were writing a movie about, say, another culture. Which
Okay.
this is gonna be to just blatantly.
okay, yeah, I guess you're right.
swipe
It's like
away,
if we're gonna base it on Greek stuff, might as well
Yeah,
go all the
we might
way.
as well show some.
Go all
of-
the way with
let's
it.
do it a service, at least a
Yeah.
little bit. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
don't-
More than zero. Show some of the good parts of it.
Don't half blast it.
Yeah.
I said that so I didn't have to censor it. I thought on that one. Big brain.
Well, yeah. Don't have Dio.
Dude, come on.
What? No, I think it's funny when they have to censor it. Don't you agree?
No. No.
Why not? Just write down the timestamp. You'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's just me and like
go do this. Take you 1
yeah,
second.
yeah, this is gonna be me and like I don't know, tomorrow night. Like
All I said was have
Dio.
It's
No,
not like
no,
I
no.
said have.
Dio Landon.
there's oh man, okay, there's a TikTok of this guy where he's describing a way to turn your penis and balls into a hamburger, where you tuck your like, dude, it's crazy, and it's like
I'm
it's
picturing it actually.
How to do the hamburger with your dick and your balls. So guys, this is gonna require you to be in a relaxed state. You should probably be standing up. Your dick gonna need to be soft. After that, you're gonna need to grab your balls with each one of your hands. Use just your fingertips. Grab your right nut, grab your left nut. Boom, boom. After that, you're gonna keep your dick in the middle. Fold that shit down with your index finger and keep it folded. Now, once you've done those 3 steps, I need you to rotate the whole fucking unit to a 90-degree angle. At this point, you should have one ball on top, your dick wrapped around in the middle, and then one ball on the bottom. It's gonna resemble a hamburger. After that, it's time to go impress whoever you fucking with. Big Wee Wee Gang, go show off your Big Mac. Lil Wee Wee Gang, go show off your sliders. Hey, we going into 2023 different. Game is game.
Hi, Carson here. Just wanted to insert an editorial apology to Dio Landon from Union, New Jersey. Just sorry we talked about how to turn your cock and balls into basically like the display of a hamburger by turning the cock into the middle and then using the 2 balls to make a top and bottom bun around the shaft. Sorry we did that on your episode. The wild part is he said this is a method of impressing someone.
That was posted in like August, September, dude. What do you mean we're going into 2023? He was 3 months ahead. I can't, man. I'm so sorry, Dio. It wasn't meant to be like this. It wasn't meant to be like this. What are we saying, dude? I'm so sorry. We need Greek mythology. Where's Percy Jackson when you need him? Man,
I kind of like the. I want us to start with character before the whole plot thing. Which guy do we like more? Which person do we like more? A modern, homeless, failed playwright, or an ancient, mythological Greek, homeless, failed playwright? And honestly, another thing is, if we're doing the ancient Greek thing, we didn't even necessarily say if it's already... You start in, like, everyone knows magic's real, or even you're starting in, like, what would be a historical Greek setting, and then... your character like stumbles upon magic in this Greek muse. I think that would be better. Like magic is like new in this. Either way that you do it. But not necessarily. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It's interesting because they both have their benefits. They both got their draws, right? Because if you go with the modern playwright, you can kind of have like parallels to modern day just being someone trying to make it in the creative field. Like you can have that applicable where whoever is the viewer there who's coming in to watch this play is like, oh man, yeah, like I don't know, I'm trying to do something on Etsy. I'm trying to sell hand woven ski masks or something like that. This I can relate to not being able to have my craft fully fund my thing here and wishing that a muse could wishing that this fantasy were on me. Like you can have that relation to people, but if you go on the opposite side to like the ancient Greek guy, you can kind of play it off more where the equivalent isn't the like abstract difficult job like it would be today, but have that be more the equivalent of like your office job or your corporate thing where they're like, now you have an entire different struggle of this guy feeling like, man, we live in the day and age where like anybody can be a playwright and I'm not able to do it. Like I am trying with all of my life and there's people like Socrates over here who's just typing out, you know, Ophelia. I don't know. I'm referencing stuff that's not. This is not lining up.
You're doing like I think like a time travel playwright thing, which also that was something I didn't even remember to pitch before. Was the third option. You do this as a time travel thing, where it starts modern, and then he enters magical ancient Greece somehow with the help of this muse. She's like, yeah, because you know what it is. It's like I'm gonna take you to someone who can help, and it's like takes her back to
magic school bus style.
Well, like that.
But magic time travel
takes this playwright back to ancient Greek to meet like Socrates, for example. You should look up real quick if Socrates was in fact a playwright or something else. I feel like he was a philosopher, not a playwright. But I think he did maybe both. I'm pretty sure he did some of both.
I mean, we got Sophocles. Menander, I like that name.
Okay, if Menander's
Euripides.
So wait,
Aristophanes?
If Socrates wasn't a playwright, maybe just
Agathon.
We should do that thing again where we say Sophocles and edit that in over all the Socrateses.
Sophocles, you're asking me to do so much editing.
Just look up if Socrates was a playwright.
Okay.
And no, we don't need to do that. We'll just have to fess up to our.
I'll fess up to my sins. Okay. No, Socrates was a Greek philosopher. I don't.
Yeah, but did he write even one play? Like when he was in school?
A single play, Socrates. Come on, just Socrates.
A single play. Save us here. Throw us a bone.
Something. Plato. No. I mean, he's got a problem. It's literally called the Socratic problem. I don't know about that one, dude.
Wow,
He's
he's
got
famous
philosophy.
for introducing a problem.
He's literally got his own level of ignorance and irony, dude. I don't know, man.
Right, well, irony is helpful in plays, so that gives us some
Socratic
kind of
ignorance and
credibility.
irony. Oh, man. Yeah, but I think he's living it. The trial of Socrates? What did he do?
All right,
Oh,
you know
no, we're
what?
in it
Try
too deep.
Socrates filmography. No, don't. We could do this. We'll just pick someone else. We'll do Menander or something.
Yeah.
Who did?
Yeah,
who
my
wrote?
boy Menander.
Who wrote like? Who did Oedipus? That was someone famous.
I don't know, man. I'm
Honestly,
not in high school anymore,
honestly,
dude.
we could even use Plato.
Sophocles. No, it was the other guy. Sophocles. Yeah.
That's probably why we.
Yeah, that's why it sounded.
Socrates,
Yeah, Socrates
So we
and
gotta start
Sophocles
with
are two different dudes, but they
We're
were
starting
both
with
Greek
Sophocles.
dudes. One of them was just in philosophy. One of them was in
But
playwriting.
they both started with S, so.
They're
look
just
at us.
very similar sounding dudes.
This is Content Factory where
Dude.
it gets made and we do our best.
Can you believe? I don't know how many hundreds of years ago this was, but this is before people had last names. Back when
Yeah.
everyone was just like, I'm Sophocles. Don't call me Socrates. He's in like two towns over.
Setting, that's like if you went into an office and it's like, I'm looking for Mike.
Yeah, there's
And
like.
it's like Mike who. But then this is why.
No,
when,
it's got to be you're looking for Ashley, and there's like Ashley with the IGH, and there's Ashley with EY, and they're both like,
yeah, but
who?
what happens if you are looking for Mike? You get what I'm saying? Like then this is when they invented. If this happened, because the real history of last names, at least the one that I know, is like the medieval English. Other than like the nobility, like getting last names because they needed them and they wanted like fancy ones. When lower class people got last names, it was like you'd be John of wherever you were from, or you'd be somebody
like-
plowman if that was your job. Was to
Yeah,
do
like-
you'd be named
yeah,
after your job
yeah,
or
your last
something
name.
descriptive. So people now, if we got last names, families would be called like you could be like Xavier Accounting or something. You know what I mean? Like
no,
that
you
would
know-
be all of those.
No, you know it's
Carson
crazy though?
Marketer. If my parents were in marketing, my parents are both in sales. I might just be named after sales somehow.
What I'm thinking is crazy. When you think about that, there's so many people who already do that, including myself. It's just phone contacts.
Yeah,
Like it's literally
you just know their name.
it's-
Is
yeah,
if it's someone from your
like,
job,
tell me
it's like
you
the
don't
department.
have someone saved as like first name manager.
I think I literally,
Like-
when I worked at Restaurant Depot, I literally had a person in there named, and I didn't have a last name in there.
Yeah,
It was just first name, and then I think as the last name, Meat.
yep.
Is the
Mr.
person-
Meat.
Yeah, it was Mr. Meat. He's responsible for the meat department. Senior
Oh,
carne, yeah.
Alan.
Yeah, so
Alan
that's
Meat.
real. That's a real thing.
No, that's what I'm. Yeah, that is wild.
I really like this ancient thing. I think the question though, I don't know.
We
where you're
time
standing.
traveling?
I think the question is, do we time travel or do we just do an ancient thing through
I mean,
and
I
through?
kind of like time travel.
Yeah, I kinda
do like time because then you can say
I like-
it's the modern twist on the
and-
classic tale.
Plus, you get a built-in like, mentor because it's Sophocles. Like you're going back in time. That's what I was gonna say. Is the Muse brings you back to meet Sophocles to learn the lesson that the protagonist needs to learn. Like this is such a clear thing to.
I especially want to do time traveling too, specifically because if this is a play, I feel
That
like
gives you an
most
act structure too. Like
plays
in the past is like your middle part of the play.
Yeah, I don't know, like locate, like once your setting is set, that's it. You know, like you're in rural Kansas, and that's where everything's changing.
But you change a couple times, right? So that's why this is great.
So you might go to like a building here or there, but this is cool because instead of it just being the big change is we're in a building or we're in a different house. It is we are in a different time. We have
really
time
Wizard
traveled.
Oz,
Yeah.
like, act change where they
Yeah.
curtain opens up on it. It's like what? Like
Yeah.
the last thing was just like a farmhouse, and now there's candy cane trees and stuff.
Imagine doing a costume change where for like the first act everyone's like wearing monochrome clothing.
Yeah.
And then the second act they've got to
Suits
change
and
into like
everything, like-
yeah, like suit, tie.
Because even if you are in like a modern like city theater, you're talking
Yeah.
about people like dressed for, even if they're theater career people, they're still dressed
Yeah.
for the city. So they're kind of
Mhm.
even when they're done with their costume and they're going home, they're gonna put on their just like businessy like coat, like just a big like dark gray.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just gonna
Yeah.
get kind of boring for when they're done. Like except for the named characters, you know what I mean? That are
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
They'll have some kind of flair that shows us their
Yeah.
personality. Look at like our protagonist. We should start
Yeah,
with that.
we gotta hit.
Let's
that one.
start
We
with
gotta
the
hit that
real iconic character that's going to drive this whole thing. I think that's what we've been missing.
one. We
in some
need
of
this
our
character
projects.
to have like a titular first name. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's gotta be one of
That's
like,
so iconic of Greek
yeah,
plays. So
it's gotta be like, dang, this was written by Sophocles.
Uh-huh.
These are people who he can have a last name, but he should also be able to be known by just first name.
yeah.
You know, like it's got to be one of those.
Are you familiar with those?
It's got to be a Beyonce type thing. Like,
Well,
you know,
or
Beyonce's
Hamlet.
last
Like,
name
if
is
you wanted
Knowles.
to do a play example of a titular name, could be like a Hamlet or
Yeah.
Oedipus or something.
yeah.
Or Percy Jackson.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
modern.
Percy
He's got a
Jackson
last
is
name.
titular
Is it-
name, yeah.
You know,
That is literally
I'd hear Percy and I'd start thinking about like
the train.
the trains. The
Yeah.
trains. Yeah, that's exactly what my mind's going. Thomas
All right,
and Friends.
so are we picturing who is okay, I'm telling you. Okay, clear your mind. Clear your mind. Homeless, failed playwright. What are you picturing?
Raggedy looking dude.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing in like a New York City street.
Right, I definitely want to be. It definitely
It's
feels
got-
like it's
yeah.
New York.
Yeah, is if not New York, maybe Philadelphia, because I feel like that could give it some gritty filth. To
Yeah,
because
and I feel like
New
there's
York
definitely playwrights
feels
in Philadelphia.
New York feels like the imagery that you would get on like a video or like film. Like it'd be like a homeless dude in New York, but I feel like the playwright is like, nah, I'm looking for the real weirdos, the freaks. New York's just full of business, finance people. This is where all weird art Frankenstein folks are at. Yeah, it just seems like the kind of place where you'd be like, the playwrights aren't in New York,
It's
man.
great because, yeah, and it's great because it's like, it's the type of thing where your family would be like, why aren't you in New York? You know what I mean? Like, where like
Yeah.
most people who don't know, like that, or just most people just wouldn't understand, like, why are you in Philadelphia trying to be a player? Like, whereas you're like, you don't start in the huge pond, right? When you are a small, right? You start
Yeah,
in, it's what is that Blue Sea Theory? Right? Like, you go to.
You gotta work your
You
way
go
up.
to us, you know. You go when you're trying to become a band. They say you go to Europe first to become big there, and then it's easier to get big in America because you started over where like the markets are smaller. I guess I don't know what the exact, but you know, it's kind of like that. It's like, why would you go to Broadway when you don't have any experience yet? So he's like,
yeah, exactly.
he's basically like, I'm trying to get started. You know what I mean? I kind of like.
Well, that gives you an excuse to become failed too.
Yeah.
because that's like your learning curves. Because then you can fail in Philly and still have a win in Broadway, New York later on. Or even if it's you fail in Philly and then have a win back in time, which then enables you to have your win in Broadway later on, which can give you like, if you're going off of your threes in each act, essentially an opportunity to either fail or win in, I guess, being a playwright. That I feel like that just by that nature, then the playwright should produce more than one play. Like, it would probably be difficult, but there would be like micro plays where it'd be like, since the actual core content that we'd be receiving as a viewer is given in play format, how that would essentially turn out is like you'd have your scene change, you'd have your titular character describing, like, wow, I hope this play goes well, and then, curtains go in, curtains go out. You're now in scene of the play, and it's just maybe like a scene, and close, come back, and then responsive. Oh man, the audience didn't like that, and like, whether or not the audience does or doesn't like it, just having that response already predetermined.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen plays within plays before. Like that's all the time that happens. Even Shakespeare's done that, and it's like a play that literally takes 5 minutes, like exactly what you're kind of going for, like a micro play inside. You could definitely have more than one of those throughout the course of a full play. There's no reason why not. Have one that he writes.
It would be really cool too, because you have the opportunity for the failed play to have the actors within the the actors who are playing the people inside titular characters play, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the failed version, you could have those actors purposely misdeliver the lines and like mess up. Like, sure, the mess up would be like practiced and intentional, but it would be one of those things that as a viewer comes off as like, hey,
it's
wait a
authentic.
minute, it's authentic in that, right, where it'd be like, dang, I'm the next scene would come over, and as a viewer you'd be thinking the same thing that titular character is thinking, that like, dang, that play didn't go well. And then that dude's gonna say the same thing that the audience is thinking, and that's progresses more of it too. That's so good. Yeah.
So
this guy's got to get a name. I'm voting for the name Britannica simply because I'm seeing it.
Okay, well, Britannica doesn't make sense if we're starting in Philadelphia.
Okay.
What about
Franklin? Franklinese.
What did you look up that got you to Britannica?
I just looked up Oedipus.
Oh,
Oedipus Rex, played by Sophocles. Britannica has the entire play by. I'm assuming this is it. This is all of Oedipus. No, this looks like a page.
What if? Okay, can you with a name real quick?
Dudley Fitz.
No, wait, can I get you? I got one. I got one for you. You ready?
I'm hearing you.
Scott Folkleys.
Scott Folkleys.
No, yeah, Scott. No. Scott Folkleys. Folkleys. Scott Folkleys. Scott Folkleys. Do you like that? Scott, and then like Folklies. Scott Folkleys. But then he meets Sophocles. But he's the modern Scott Folkleys.
Oh.
Is that anything? Or is that too much? Is that too on the nose? It might be too on the nose.
Honestly, part of me feels like it's a stretch.
I think it could be good if he didn't meet Sophocles. Like if he was meeting someone else, but his name was Scott Folkleys, that could be like a cool little Easter egg. But if he was meeting Sophocles, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, hey, dude, what's Well, but that's also kind of a funny scene to have the like. Oh, what? So now you're trying to steal my name too, like Socrates over, like.
Oh,
then we have
what if his
mentioned
name's
the
Ed?
two real people.
In the title, his name is titular. His name's Ed, just Ed. But the title is like, Ed is pissed. Is that something? He's homeless to failed playwright. He's probably pissed. Ed is pissed. No, because I don't want to have to write something based on Oedipus either.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're pigeonholing this into Oedipus. It's just gotta have the like.
Let's not
Latin
base this name off of another
like
play,
word
because
structure. That's really what it is. Like it's just finding like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You should have not Latin, by the way.
Yeah, not okay. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not Latin.
Specifically, not Latin.
Maybe not Latin, but you get what I mean. Just the idea of like, what would Oedipus Rex translate to in the modern times if that dropped?
Oh, what about just a dude whose first name is Rex? That most people would not make that connection, but it's there. You know what I mean? Just like and then that's also like a great name for somebody who's trying to cut it in the entertainment industry. Rex, you kidding me? Like, and in Philadelphia, like the stakes are he's gonna end up in porn with a name like that. Rex in Philadelphia.
Rex in Philadelphia.
He's already homeless, and he's like he's so close to doing porn. It's
already
like, unless he
home.
can write one good play, that will save his life.
Already homeless. Don't.
We can get rid of the porno stuff, but that illustrates my point, right? Could be
Sophocles.
Could be just a man named Rex. I think that's a good. What else? I can't think of other Greek characters that fast.
I'm looking up this giant
like,
list of, Greek playwrights, and like a lot of these names are like, they end with es or us, er.
Yeah. Okay.
IS.
So you want to get the sound there? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, you want it to not only read. Well, when you read it, you're hearing it in your head, but when you say it out loud as well, it's the same thing. You want it to sound like. That sounds like a Greek play of some kind. You but off the bat, you want that to already feel, like if you read, just Rex. In my mind, I'm imagining like a Ben 10 movie about one of the permutations. Right. But if I hear like, I know
something that's not another.
Your Rex Pitties.
Like another name.
Then it's
other than just you just said it. The E's like the Hercules. Yeah. I was thinking something Hercules.
Exactly. It's ending in the.
What if his name is Rex Hercules? And
Rex
he's a rock star.
That is ridiculous.
And he's a failed playwright, but he's also a rock star. He's a failed rock star that becomes a playwright.
Rex Hercules.
Rex Hercules. No, that's already a porn star.
That is
or a wrestler. That could be a wrestler.
Okay, that's a wrestler.
Rex Hercules
that's gotta be like an alias
wrestler.
name. That's what that sounds like. Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. That's not
what that
someone's
is.
real
that's
name.
Not what their
Rex
real name.
Hercules.
But then again, dude, you have people like Menander.
Again, that's not in Philadelphia.
I feel like Menander would be a Philadelphia guy.
Modern name Xander Menander. How's that?
See, Menander, Greek dramatist, best known for
Xander's a real
Athenian
name
new comedy
that people have now, and that sounds like Menander.
Xander, Xandres, Aristophanes, Euripides, nuts, got him.
we gotta get past this name thing, though.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
that's a more about like who is this guy? Let's we should start with is his flaw. That's like what's thing? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We need to do we need to decide right away.
Huh.
And honestly, I think it's kind of right there in the idea is that he's writing a play that will save his life. So I think this is a comedy, not a tragedy. So starting homeless. This is definitely starting with a flaw that has to be kind of there's a lesson that's learned, and that's definitely when they're back in time from the mentor, who's also going to be like a buddy character. I think. I feel like that's the way to do this. Yeah,
that would be. They've got to have like
those. They've got.
I like the idea of having them have the ability to step in vocally, but not physically. Like sure is a stage and they're there, but they're like, no, you should do this, and the guy's getting jumped, and he's like, help me, and he's like, I can't, like, jump, run, I don't know, but you get what I mean. Yeah. That is a good use of like a buddy character, especially. Well, then again, I don't know. I feel like that's Scrooging it too much, or not Scrooge, like
Yeah, we got. I almost mentioned Christmas Carol before when we were talking about the time travel thing. So that's either something we have to lean into or lean away from. Otherwise, we gotta be careful with that. We have to make sure there's only one thing. We can't have it be he goes back in time and meets 3 playwrights separately. That's something we definitely should avoid.
Yeah, no. He goes back in time and he's got...
beginning, like, this is a Christmas Carol story, but I don't think that would be doing Dio Landon a great service, frankly. Let's do something a little fresher than that.
Yeah.
I like the...
He's got to go back and like learn from just one person.
And the flaw has something to do with, obviously, if you're going back and learning from a playwright, like, and you're starting as a homeless failed playwright, then the flaw has something to do with his playwriting. Thing. Like, there's something, and people, somebody should obviously say something about this to him. In that first scene where he's going and trying to sell his script, right? Like we were saying, so he's like, look, we already told you we don't like your stories, and it's like, no, just, come on. He like tells him the concept. He's like, just give it a read. And it's like, look, just like all of your other stories, it's whatever. I'm trying to think of some kind of egoistic mistake that you could be making as a writer. It's like, the protagonist is just gonna be like about you and be perfect or something like that, and it's like he's always writing these stories with like perfect protagonists because he's trying to base them on himself and he sees himself as perfect or whatever. And then it's like the lesson he has to learn is to see his own flaws, and then he writes another play, and that's the perfect play that he writes, and that's the one that saves his life and saves his career at the end. So I'm saying it needs to be some kind of playwriting based flaw that he can then go back into ancient Greece and learn the correct version of.
If that's where the like resolution of,
and that's where the story is. That's where the
story is.
The conflict is there too. You start with I think you get that first, and then it's easy to come up with the conflict. All right, let's brainstorm some ideas of flaws playwriters can have. It doesn't necessarily have to be a writing-based flaw, like I said. To just also think about,
just be like the personality.
Somebody in that lifestyle. What would be a flaw? Like
not getting enough sleep. I write too much. Feeling as if you need to live every experience dangerously to have something to write about. So then you're potentially putting yourself in dangerous scenarios.
Refusing to see yourself as failed, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, it's always just what there's a quote about how people don't see themselves. It's like the poor don't see themselves as poor, or so, I'm not saying it right, but it's like they just see themselves as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. It's like everyone's like, just like, I'm not rich yet. So he's like, he's always writing the next play thinking like this is the one that's gonna, but he's like, he's not taking care of himself, like doesn't have, he could have a job or something, I don't know, but not to make it about that, but it's just like it could be some
could
kind
have
of
a home too, but
there's also exactly. Okay, well, this is another version, by the way, is if it's not like a young playwright, if it could be someone who was successful at a certain point but is now like washed up, you know what I mean? Like the homeless thing could be like the washed up writer in like the trailer, like that could be what it is. Like, and that's not quite homeless, but it's still the vibe of being the failed playwright who definitely doesn't like have enough, and it's like linked to the fact that he can't write well anymore or whatever it is.
That also gives way for the
whatever
even like
him to be failed,
like B plot, not B plot, but like I don't know, underlying story being like consistent improvement too, because that could just be like someone who's like, yeah, this is the same play, it's tried and true, like it's got the same structure from the one that worked like
but
30
like,
years
we're not
ago.
Basing it on that, we're making it about
like,
the flaw and the lesson. And I think what I'm trying to get at is it doesn't have to be a flaw in his actual writing, which would be a very interesting way to do it. Another way is like it could be a flaw. He's like sees himself as a big shot director, even though he's not, and so he's just like horrible to work with. And his lesson is about like, treating people with respect. It could be one of those. I don't know. What are you thinking? I'm kind of. Tell me what you're thinking first.
My brain just like restarted.
Nice. Got a fresh take here. I'm leaning more towards the flaw in his writing. I kind of liked that idea because I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just wouldn't necessarily be like. A lot of people aren't writers, so that's like not a.
Yeah.
I liked what I was doing before, maybe because It's about seeing the one where he has to see his flaws and
Yeah, I
in
feel like
order to
that
write
was,
a better character, because it's like
you
to
can be
see
old or
himself as a
young
better character.
to experience that same
Yeah,
story
true.
rather than having to be like getting the story as an older person, being like, oh man, I should have pivoted, or having that story as a younger person and being like, oh man, I need to constantly keep pivoting to the point where I don't stay in something that's beneficial long enough, you know.
Mhm.
It's this, going back to the first of those two, you're kind of presenting a story that all can experience. That's like, oh, okay, this is the actual bottom line, is like, I just got to make sure to, you know, be more reflective.
Yeah.
Dang.
So that is a more universal lesson, actually. Even
Yeah.
though that's on the surface, it's like a lesson he needs to learn as a writer. It's really a lesson he needs to learn as a person. So this is a good universal story that a lot of people take something away from. I think we should stick with that.
Yeah.
So that lesson is taught through a trip through ancient Greece, which is like, now we got some of the work ahead of us. Now we're getting into that part. We're beginning with no one wants to buy,
Yeah.
or no one really cares about this dude's plays, and they talk about why they're bad is because like the characters don't have any flaws, and he's like, you know, whatever, and it's like, you know, it's kind of like, wait, is this just a story about a dude with no flaws? Like, this can't be the theme.
Scene one should be like, the guy's finally gotten the opportunity to have his play in like a small club, small theater, like normally not a play presenting place,
And actually,
and they're letting him.
You know why you're scratching my
testing it?
brain right now is because of the beginning of the idea that was submitted was write a play about a homeless failed playwright who sneaks into an abandoned theater. There's your action, right? This could be either the first scene or this could be the theater. Even if you start with pitching the play and no one wants it, then you come back at night. You come back at night to go in. Anyway, this could also be the first scene. Sneaks into the abandoned theater. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, abandoned. It could be long abandoned or abandoned at night, I guess, technically. But if it's you're sneaking into an abandoned theater for shelter, and then you get approached by the Greek Muse and helps him write the play that will save his life. So I'm saying the opportunity that you're saying, you want there to be the opportunity finally to write the play. It's like, I was thinking, if this is a working theater, which I don't know, maybe that's not what we're doing now, but I was thinking of, if this is like a working theater, but it's like abandoned in the sense that it's like no one's in there right now. He sneaks in there just to like sleep for the night, and he sees like someone, like a stage manager leaves their like binder there or something, or like somebody important leaves their script that they're working on like unattended there, like in their office or whatever, and has the opportunity to like write it on the producer's actual typewriter and just leave it on his desk, and like, I don't know, is that anything? Because then the man would have to read it.
I'm trying to think about the actual like play viewing experience of that, and I don't know, it's possible, but I feel like the abandoned theater, I do like the concept of there being like a separate theater that's like completely abandoned, because that can also be symbolic of just the thing not working at that point in time, you know,
which is also, I feel like, a better setting for meeting a Greek muse in too. So I kind of
you
like
have
that
more,
a lot more.
you've got more room to explore.
Yeah,
it's not like,
all right,
oh
I'm
man,
with you there.
we gotta
actually.
not go into the light or go into the main lobby because we're gonna mess things. Specifically though, I'm imagining, because I'm trying to go like film perspective angle on this, where you have like a first scene that isn't like directly with the characters, just something to grab people's interest and be like, what exactly is happening? And so that would be when you have your actors in play of them performing and messing up, So for the people watching, it might feel like a lot, but like the first 5 minutes feels like the people are fumbling the play. So literally, as the audience member, you're like, oh man, what's going on? Not knowing it's intentional. And then the next scene is them being like, hey, so your play just happened? You bombed. Like, we're not going to let you come back here ever again. Yeah. And then the dude's like, that sucks. Now I'm homeless. I put my down payment of 200 coin on this. Like, I've got nothing else left. That is why they're like, well, now that I have nowhere to sleep, it's getting cold at night. I'll go into the one. I feel like the abandoned theater should have like a significance.
Can I do
from
an alley-oop
prior.
real quick?
Yeah,
remember right where you are, but just to help you get to the scene that you're at right now.
Yeah.
You could have. He hasn't like told anyone this, but he's like going through an eviction, and this is like a real problem that happens sometimes, I believe. And again, I'm not in the theater industry, but I believe this is a real thing that can happen in a modern theater thing. Is it's an investment because you're trying to make a profit on your play. Yeah. And you have to like pay the theater to let you put it on there, and you pay the actors and everything. And the real problem that guy was like, nobody shows up. Excuse me. Nobody shows up to your play. You can't afford to pay back the theater. And it's like he's instead of making enough money to keep his place, now he's lost his apartment and he's in debt to the theater now too, which gives you like an added conflict, right? Because now that could be an antagonist. Is like the theater owner looking for their money from him.
A whole separate B plot.
Yeah, that's great. I love that actually. I didn't even think about that. That's good. And then, and this is something else I thought about.
Time traveling money laundering
scam. Yeah.
Like money multiple.
He comes back. He's like, "Where can I exchange this?" Like, he's
plant a coin.
Money. Like,
have it become a money tree in the future.
Yeah, you come back and it's fully grown. I was thinking that the Muse would be associated with a certain deity, is my understanding. And you're at the computer. You should probably start doing some Googling. Can you get a tab and just do like Greek Muse, and let's at least get a
Greek muses in ancient Greek religion and mythology. Excuse me. In ancient Greece. No. Muses are inspirational goddesses of literature. Yep. Science and the arts.
Goddesses. My understanding is they're connected to deities.
They were considered the source of the knowledge embodied in the poetry, lyric, songs, and myths.
Are they associated with a certain god or goddess? Or are they allowed to be associated with different ones, maybe? Because I want to bring in a certain god.
It looks
is
like
kind of my point here.
There are two sets. The Boeotian muses, which there's a set of 3, which seems like the original 3, and then there's 9 Olympian muses.
Oh, okay. Tell me about the Olympian ones, because that's probably more what I'm looking for.
We've got Calliope, who presides over eloquence and epic poetry.
Oh, great.
Clio, muse of history, or in a few, the muse of lyre playing. Oh, lyre, yeah, okay.
Lyre playing, that could be a good one.
Eroto.
I want one of these muses to basically, this is my pitch.
Literature, science,
instead
and arts.
of it being Sophocles or another playwright that's the mentor character, I was thinking it should be a god, like Dionysus or somebody, like the god of partying, and I believe he's got a hand in playwriting too. And probably is connected to these muses. But I'm thinking it could even just be one of these muses as a character that is your, like, secondary character for the whole. And then that's such a character-driven, just because, like, that's something where you would pitch it on the art, like, before even the script. Like, this is going to be on the screen the whole movie, so. I think we should pick one of these to be, like, your side character. Or Dionysus somehow, maybe, even.
Melpomene. The muse of tragedy.
Oh no. Well, maybe if he's starting in a low place, where he's being evicted and everything, that's tragic, right? He could start there and then, and then that's even. Maybe there's like a relationship dynamic where it ends up being more connected with a different muse once he's not tragic at the end. I don't know. Maybe I'm going too far ahead here.
I see what you're saying on that, though.
Because I could just be thinking too far into the future. I don't know.
Terpsichore.
Does this say anything about like connection to
Talia?
Does it say anything about connection to the gods specifically? Like, is that a section?
I'm not seeing well, maybe it is if I open the full page, but in the little micro thing, I'm mostly just seeing like what their thing is about.
Okay.
Talia seems good though.
Who's Talia?
Talia here, goddess who presided over comedy and idyllic.
That's the
poetry.
one. Comedy and I don't care. Wait, what was the other ones?
Idyllic poetry. I want to look what that
like ideals. Which is great because that's kind of what we're talking about here too.
In this context, her name means flourishing.
Okay, wait, this is great.
In her songs, flourish through time.
Through time. That's awesome. This is the one. And I also believe you said idyllic, right? I think you're saying like ideals, like poetry that is about ideals. Is that what it's? Is that the word?
An ideal is a short poem descriptive of rustic life, written in the style of Theocritus' short pastoral poems. The ideals.
Oh, okay.
I think that it's pronounced the same way, but it has kind of like similar.
Interesting.
Like,
yeah. The time travel thing is that it specifically said she's about time travel. That's good. All right, so this Talia is going to be your second like main character.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a commercial break?
Oh, there's good appearance too. Can we just listen to the description of Talia before a commercial break?
Of course.
Okay. Close your eyes and just imagine. Here we have Talia.
Wait, can you insert the sound of me closing my eyes?
Yeah. I did it in real time.
That was focally.
Okay. Talia was portrayed as a young woman with a joyous air, crowned with ivy, wearing boots, and holding a comic mask in her hand. Probably Dream. Many of her statues also hold a bugle and a trumpet, both used to support the actors' voices in ancient comedy, or occasionally a shepherd's staff or a wreath of ivy. Daughter of Zeus. All right.
Okay, wait. So there you go. Then you can also can be a character too, and that's kind of what originally wanted. But now that seems like we need a reason for him to be there, since we're having Talia be.
That's also good too.
He could totally be an antagonist, though, right? Like the guy, like Zeus being after them would be great.
That's her dad,
that's
dog.
what I'm saying.
When you already have a narrative laid out like that, where it's like the Muse is just like the buddy duo. By the end of that, once they have to leave, it's like, oh man, what's happened? And she's gonna be like, my dad is Zeus, man. I don't know what's gonna happen after this.
He's like what?
yeah, like.
Like if it's romantic, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
And then she tells him Zeus. What?
No, that's funny. Okay.
That's awesome. She's a daughter of Zeus, Talia, who's also like the muse of comedy and idyllic poetry. Is good. This is great.
I feel like we're just slowly figuring out Percy Jackson in reverse.
No, sure. Yeah. Hey,
still,
you know what though? We've got the first
good.
25% of a play, I think.
Yeah, it's still good.
Or at least we've got the 25% point, what it should be. Let's go to a commercial. We've been doing this.
Yeah.
Let's go to commercial because we've been doing this for a while.
All right, let's cut to com. Whoa! Get a load of that. Here we are in the commercial segment. Do you have any idea what our commercial is going to be for this week?
Do you have any idea where we can find advertisers? That's my first thing I wanted to advertise today, is that if you want to advertise on the show,
yeah,
go right ahead.
If you want to advertise on the show, you can send an email to Zave, that's me, ZAVE, at LeavingSomeDay.com. I cannot make it any easier of an email to remember. It is Zave at leavingsomeday.com. If you wanna advertise here, you could. You very well could. I mean, until then, the only advertiser we have is still buy.lsd.onl.
Buy LSD online.
It's really a message to spread to as many. See, I've been thinking about it from a reverse psychology standpoint. You know how I am about my reverse psychology. We've gotta find people who are already in our age range, right? We gotta go to the places where the youth are, for example, public parks and local establishments, and we need to find the people within our age range and age bracket and tell them, hey, open up your phone device and or web browser and search to buy LSD online, because I feel like they're gonna understand what we're talking about, and once they do it, they're gonna be like, whoa, I should have done this before.
Yeah, just getting LSD online.
Yep, all kinds of behind the scenes content and early podcasts, and I heard in 2023 we got a whole bunch of stuff packed and planned, so that's gonna be even more exciting.
We also wanted to tell you about content.gives.
It's real. It's true.
It's real. That's where Dio Landon is from.
Yeah. Did you know that?
Also, Union, New Jersey. He said.
This entire
not to dox
episode.
Dio Landon, but he's from Union, New Jersey.
Well, come on.
What?
Come on.
It's in the submission.
Yeah, I guess. Well, shout out. Shout out to Dio Landon. Did you know that?
I'm also pretty sure we told people they're allowed to use pseudonyms. Wasn't that part of it?
You know what? Maybe.
I don't think we said it was required though. So it's like
maybe. Yeah. You never know. Maybe Dio Landon. Well, I choose to believe that Dio Landon is a real person.
Me too.
Dio Landon is a real person that we don't know.
Real to me.
It's real to me. Dio is real to me, and Dio is real to every one of our listeners right now too, because this entire episode is technically brought to you by Dio. When you think about it, Dio was the very first person to go to content.gives and submit an actual idea, which we are developing on this episode of, the one that this advertisement's on. So that's pretty exciting. If you'd like to have an entire episode much like this one, all you got to do is go to content.gives, submit your idea. And let me tell you, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the one and only idea that we had in the bank is being used up on this one. So that means the channels are clear again. Next one that comes in seems like that could be the one, or I guess the next one. But eternally, I'll have to thank Dio Landon for sure. And we could be thanking you as well if you go to content.gives and submit us some ideas. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Submit your ideas. Buy LSD online. It's not sketchy. It's not sketchy.
Give some content.
Give some content. You know what they're saying? These AI are starting to take over our jobs.
Prove them wrong.
Yeah,
Go
let's
ahead.
prove them wrong.
This is our chance to fight back.
Yeah, give us some content instead of
Stop
them.
Skynet. Show them that you're doing better material.
Because
you understand the difference is AI doesn't understand why it's doing what it's doing. Unlike Dio Landon, who clearly does.
Yeah, Dio Landon gets it. Dio Landon is a real one. Shout out to Dio Landon. All right, dude.
All right, let's go back to Dio Landon's episode.
Let's go.
Row, row, row your quote. It's that segment that I made. Gonna learn about an artist, and then guess what they say.
Oh no, I forgot that
it's
this
row
is a
your
segment.
quote. The segment on Content Factory, the podcast where it gets made.
I'm so worried. I'm so
No, it's gonna
bad.
Be fine.
I'm so bad at
You'll
this.
get this one. You'll for sure get this one.
Okay. I hope so.
All right. So this artist that we're learning about today on Row Your Quote is an American actor / comedian.
Okay. American actor / comedian.
almost 7-decade-long TV career in
Bill Murray.
total.
Oh no, this isn't it.
Good start. Here's this next thing will probably change your mind though. This is the first woman to get Daytime Emmy Award. The Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Game Show Host.
The first woman to get the game show outstanding game show. I'm trying to remember.
First woman to get the Emmy Award. I'm sorry, the Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Game Show Host. They really break these things down, I guess.
Show host. Oh man.
Yeah, she's got some game show hosting experience,
but not the entire time.
Not the entire time. In fact, in childhood, she wanted to be a forest ranger from her family's trips and vacations to the wilderness is kind of like a fascination point for her. But she wasn't allowed to be a forest ranger because women weren't allowed to be forest rangers at that time.
That was just outlawed.
Was not in the rules, which is very unfortunate.
That's crazy.
But, because of that, this person got into the entertainment industry and gave us some of the beautiful works that we are... that's not in the notes that I have.
So am I not allowed to know that? It's just from America?
I just...
Like
I could... hang on.
Like...
It is America.
I know it's America, but...
as well.
I feel like that changes
simply don't know it.
a little bit of my guesses.
I do know it.
Because it's like between... Like, you could be... you're interested in the forest, but are you like a North Carolina forest, or are you like a Sacramento, California forest,
I do know this off the top of my head. It's just not in my notes, is what I was saying. But you clearly don't know it. So, I already know what it is, and once I'm done with this sentence, I will tell you. But I already do remember. I just have to finish this sentence to say the thing.
It's not Betty White.
It is actually Betty White.
No.
Yeah, you got it.
No way.
Illinois was where she was born. I wasn't sure about the birthplace. Because, involved with TV, but doesn't mean necessarily.
I didn't even know that she did a game show.
Yeah. She actually wanted to be in films after, I think after World War II, basically. Where she was involved with volunteer work a lot. Before this and kind of during that time. She wanted to get into films, but she was considered not photogenic. Can you believe that? I mean,
Betty White.
Pshaw. That's what I say to that.
Dog. Dude.
Also,
come on.
Boing is what I say to that. But because of that, she went to radio. Got involved with commercials and things like that. Anything she could do. She did bits and segments on all kinds of shows. Eventually, worked up her way and enough credibility, got her own show. Got the Betty White Show. I can say that since you guessed it already. She did become an honorary forest ranger eventually, but that wasn't until 2010. Smokey the Bear and the USDA Forest Service made her an honorary forest ranger.
See, I'm a big fan of when legitimate government forces team up with like logo brands.
Gritty.
Yeah, right. Like, imagine if the city of Philadelphia and Gritty
present.
Imagine if they gave an award to that one dude who ate 50 rotisserie chickens in a row. You hear about that?
Did he? Wait, you talking about the guy that eats the imaginary ones?
No. Those are.
Did you not hear about? Ate 50 rotisserie chickens in a row?
Earlier it was like at the end of the summer.
Holy
this dude
moly.
in Philly who for 50 days in a row ate a single whole rotisserie chicken, and he put up a bunch of signs around Philly on the leading up to the 50th day, being like, "Hey, I'm gonna eat the 50th chicken in a row." Rotisserie chicken fully here in the middle of this field. If you want to come watch, come out. And a whole bunch of people came out, and they were just standing in a crowd watching this guy who set up a table and just has a rotisserie chicken and is just eating it, and has apparently been doing that for 49 days prior, and this is the 50th day, 50th chicken. Imagine if Gritty and the city of Philadelphia came together and were like, congratulations, you've won Philadelphian of the Year. You know, like that's like that would be unreal. That would be that's what this sounds like to me. But also, it exists. It's true. It happened. That's what I'm saying. I feel like there needs to be more stuff like that. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's because it's get the public sector involved with these mascots.
Yeah.
My last point about Betty White is that she's actually born before. She was born in 1922. Do you know it came out?
Crazy.
Yeah. Do you know it came out in 1928 and was like available in stores?
Sliced bread.
Sliced bread. Sliced bread is the best thing since Betty White. You can say that. You may have seen that on the internet before.
Crazy, dude.
And of course, man. Golden Girls. I also just wrote Golden Girls in my notes here.
I mean, dude, shout out to Betty White. Yeah, 1922, dude. That was way before I could be doing anything in this country for sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, part of that is she was already an adult in World War II, which is when she did a lot of volunteer work with the American Women's Voluntary Services. I'm sorry, which is the largest U.S. women's service organization during World War II.
So she was really in the trenches with the troops.
So nice job, ladies. By the way. This is like only the second time we've done this segment. You didn't think you would like ever get these? Dude, you got this one early on.
Yeah, I am so worried every time.
No, you nailed it right away. This is great. Now we're gonna go into the quote quiz.
Oh no!
It's still multiple questions.
Okay,
I've made most of them shorter though. It's just like 2 quotes each for the first couple here.
Okay, I do like your made-up quotes though. They're fun.
I kind of mixed it up. There's some made-up quotes, and there's quotes just by the wrong people in here as well.
That's good.
So there's kind of both.
Because then there's some that sound familiar, but it's like,
You ready for the first question?
All right, hit me.
I don't know. I don't know if you are. The first one is between these 2 quotes. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Did Betty White say, "I am not afraid. I was born to do this"? Or did she say, "I like double entendre because then the people who get it enjoy it, and the people who don't get it don't know about it"?
I feel like Betty White would hit the latter, the second one.
Yeah, it's the double entendre.
Yeah,
one.
the double entendre. Yeah.
Nice job on that one. You knew the first one, wasn't it? That was Joan of Arc.
Was that?
Yeah.
My reasoning here was Betty White, Gilmore Girls, kind of a comedic character. I feel like the first line had too much serious delivery where it's like it doesn't I don't know, I don't know where she would be able to deliver that in a way where it felt authentic. Meanwhile, the latter one, the one about double entendre, at least feels like you could present that and say that line in a way that might get off laughs. And if that's it, then that was a lot more.
No, good reasoning though. Yeah, you
that
just
was more
reasoning
the comedy way that I would
that's
put
right.
into that.
The next one is 2 shorter quotes. And Betty White say, "I think older women still have a full life." Or did she say, 40 is the old age of youth, 50 the youth of old age?
Ooh. Can you read those 2 again?
I think older women still have a full life. 40 is the old age of youth, 50 the youth of old age.
Man, if somebody in the audience could see the amount of like contemplation and like scratching on my chin I'm doing right now. I think I'm gonna go with the first one.
I think older women still have a full life. Is that your answer?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. That was Betty White.
Nice.
The other one was Victor Hugo.
Is that...
That's
Hugo
who said
Cabret?
the other one. It's not Hugo Cabret, though. You ready for the next one?
That's crazy.
The next question. Okay. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Did Betty White say, "It's a little known fact that 1 in 3 pets get lost during its lifetime, and approximately 9 million pets enter shelters each year"? Did Betty White say that? Did Betty White say, dogs are funny, but cats are better at pranks? Or did Betty White say, in ancient times, cats were worshipped as gods? They have not forgotten this.
Ooh,
So this is the 3-choice one.
this
is the final
that's hard.
question.
That's hard. Right now, I feel split between option 2 and option 3.
So between dogs are funny, but cats are better at pranks, and in ancient times, cats were worshipped as gods, they have not forgotten this.
Yeah, I'm split between these two right now because it feels like, again, I'm just trying to imagine the delivery on
Yeah.
the lines and like how that would be conveyed. I mean, I think I might go for the Hail Mary and say option 2 here.
Dogs are funny, but cats are better at pranks?
Yeah.
Psych, that was mine.
No.
In ancient times, cats were worshipped as gods. They have not forgotten this. That is Terry Pratchett.
Oh, both of my choices were
Betty White said, it's a little known fact that 1 in 3 pets gets lost in its lifetime, and approximately 9 million pets enter shelters each year.
What?
Yeah, Betty White was very aware.
Betty White's been woke since the 60s.
So that was Row Your Quote. Today we learned about Betty White.
That's crazy. Shout out to Betty White, dude.
Yeah, rip in peace, Betty White.
Yeah. 415 bars ago. Yeah. You know what they say, what I would do with 1,000 Island dressing because of what I have.
So let's get back to Dio Landon's play.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, don't get me started. Dio
About Rex
Landon.
Hercules.
Rex Hercules. I don't know how I feel about this name.
Okay.
Part of me likes it. I'm gonna be honest. Part of me is like Rex Hercules. Like it does feel like the combination of a first name, last name. Where
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want Hercules.
And also, it feel like
it's gotta be like a little bit further off of her because Hercules is already the
Rex
dude.
Hercules works if it's
Rex
the washed
Hercules.
up old playwright, because then it could totally just be a pseudonym. Where it's like it totally when he was
Honestly,
famous,
yeah.
it made sense to be called like Mr. Sophocles. Like maybe he's not Hercules. He made his last name Sophocles, and his name is like Rex Sophocles or something. I don't know. Like it could be. It makes sense for the like old washed up version, but not. I don't think it makes as much sense for the young guy version, which I don't know which one I like more. Because like we said, the lesson kind of applies to whatever age anyone is.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of makes me feel like we should do the old guy one, because like we could write about ourselves, like write what we know as like, you know, make it about someone who's like 20 years old, like trying to start out as a creator. Or because this is a more universal lesson in terms of the age, we could use this as an opportunity to kind of branch out and do like, I think we should I think it'd be more of a challenge to ourselves as writers. Let's do he's an old man. He's an old man that's losing his place. It's so sad. Like, cause he's too old to.
He's like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah, he's like, what's he gonna do? He can't like busk as well as other people. He can't learn an instrument at his age. You know what I mean? He's all he knows is playwriting, but can't do that by himself. Oh, no, wait, yeah, the play that will save his life. It's a one-man play that he performs on the street.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's
Because
great.
then it's like you could have him
Yes.
in that like.
With the Muse trying to figure out the entire time, like, who's going to be the perfect actor and cast for his play, trying to figure out, like, how do I get this, how do I get that? And the entire time the Muse is like,
Maybe
it's been with
you know what it is he's trying to do. Remember, this is his flaw. We said he's trying to do the one-man play, and it's about him not having flaws, and that's like nobody likes it. But by the end, he includes the whole community in it of like the other people that don't have a place to live and are living in the same like community with him, but at least there's people there that are like street performing because like they have the opportunity to like have an instrument and know what to do with it, and like there's people that are making money like doing things, and he's like struggling, he's like at a loss because like his whole shit is being a playwright.
Yeah.
So this is like your act one is he's not homeless yet, right? We talked about that. He's getting evicted.
Yeah.
The play
He's getting
fails.
evicted.
I'm saying he's like the stranger in a strange land at this point, in like a literal homeless community. If you want to do it like hard, like he's under the he's like he's in like what's the word? Not a Hoovertown is a very outdated thing because that refers to specifically during the reign of Hoover, pretty much, or at least as a consequence of his influence. So that's really more of a depression thing. But you know what I mean? A homeless community. So there's other people around that live there. You know what I mean? It's like, but to him, it's like he can't live here. Like he can't comprehend this being like a place to live. But you have like other characters that are already comfortable, and this is like normal life to them. And it's like. It's like Lightning McQueen entering the backwater town. You know what I mean? Like where he gets to like the town where the whole movie kind of takes place, and he's like, I can't stay here. Like this is the middle of nowhere. Like
that's
this
what
is
I'm gonna
like
say.
a big version of that.
That gives you so much room for like character dynamic, like juxtaposition, in the sense of like wanting to be there, but then being like, nah, wait, hold on.
No, I think it's great. I mean, it's just a great, crossing of a threshold or whatever.
He's gotta like see people there, and the entire time on the route to, I don't know, before like. The way to like try to picture the community, like if that's like outside, like let's say he's walking around outside, being like, man, I can't be here.
Then he goes to the abandoned theater, right?
Yeah,
because he
that'd
can't.
be good
He
too,
doesn't. He kind of turns in a way. He turns his back and like he doesn't see it that way, right? But he's kind of.
There's got to be people who are living in like leisure, like living like kings there, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like
those
they gotta
people
feel like
they're
they're having a blast.
You definitely have like your guitar guy who's like literally comes back with cash every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's people who are set up already in this lifestyle, and then this is great because he'll go back in time with Talia. I hope we're saying it right.
I believe.
Yeah, I believe we can. And he learns about, because wasn't one of her things, we kind of briefly were in the Google search, we didn't fully go in depth on this, but one of the things was poetry about agricultural life or something like that. Like, wasn't that something about the idyllic poetry?
Yeah.
And
it was along those lines.
Maybe he comes back, and this is kind of what we were talking about before the recording, and I think part of the beginning of the episode. He kind of comes back and he's like, guys, we're all living here on this like grass strip by the highway, but like it's land. And he comes back and he has them start farming there somehow on the actual land that they're already on. Even, I don't know, it's probably illegal for them to do that. But they start utilizing the area around them more that way. You know what I mean? And then that's a lesson directly from the Greek mythology, like the character that we have to embody that, which is Talia. So I think that's a cool way to bring that all in like a symbolic way at the end. If I don't know, because
that's cool. That's
because he probably is too lazy to do when he gets into the ancient world. He's a playwright and he's too lazy to work with people and do agriculture. So that's like something he's learning too, is like to actually do stuff and be productive. But that's not as interesting as learning the stuff we're talking about before.
A bit more
acknowledging flaws
to try and like get a better picture of what the idyllic poetry here is, and it looks like a lot of it is being like literally being limited to small intimate worlds and just describing scenes of everyday life.
This is absolutely perfect.
It literally is like that, having to like have this playwright who's failed and is going back in time and being like, teach me, I need to learn, I need an immediately good play, and whoever this wise person here is like, well, you gotta just come on the farm and just tend to the sheep. And this guy's just like, that's stupid. Like, that's gonna take so long.
I think a simpler version of this farming stuff is starting to feel like an extra step now. Another version of it is just, you're saying you just use way better words
to learn.
I feel like that's just kind of the historical context for it, but you're telling it's more about
farming is a lesson to learn patience, essentially.
Well, go back and what you said, something about appreciating the small, like, slice of life nature of it or something. Yeah. That's what kind of the version of it is. The whole point
of the
he comes back with
poems are just to be about, like, small, intimate worlds.
Yes, intimate worlds, exactly. Yeah. So what is better than that than literally this small grass strip that's, like, just a zoning buffer or whatever between the highway and, like, the parking lot for the mall, where there's, like, people living here between these two tree lines there, so they're kind of out of sight, and the town kind of leaves them alone. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like we said, like,
living in a, like, community too, where specifically like a lot of people turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you engage
out
with
of sight,
that
out of mind here
as like as like a benefit, it's like a feature where you're like, okay, cool, like.
And it's like they go out in the day and you know, they do their performance or whatever they do to get money in the day, and they come back at night and they live here in this little community, and like we said, they're kind of comfortable and it's set up. It's like it's like a town unto itself, even though it's like just a handful of people. Like, you probably would know all these characters by the end of the movie, by the end of the play. That's right. I gotta be careful here.
It's a play.
It's a play, so we gotta limit our settings too. Like, this is we started in like a theater, which is good because you could totally, even just with lighting, like, kind of get like the theater architecture out of the play, do the homeless community up in the front, and then when he's like, I can't live here, I gotta go find something, and he goes into an abandoned theater, because why not? Because he's a playwright, he's cultured, and he loves theaters. Like, where else would he go? Like, he's got nowhere else to go, and he goes to this abandoned theater that, like, maybe it used to be open, like, when he was younger or something, like, and he loves it. Like, his plays were here, you know, when he was good, and so he goes to this abandoned theater where the Greek Muse gets to him, and that's, you just use the same set as, like, the other theater.
Yeah.
But you just pitch it as a different. You just don't have other characters there, and it's abandoned now, and you just say it's the other one that's closed.
Also,
so this
something
is
else that I'm thinking too is that
pretty producible.
Far, something else to keep in mind that's possible, which might be like 40 chess move, I don't know, but is if this play is presented somewhere, you might be able to use the organic, natural stage of what the place looks like, at least as one of those two theaters, so that it's like you might build the set for one of the theaters, but then the other one that's like used less is literally like just the walls,
just show the bare wall,
the bare walls of what that place is, which is crazy because I, as a viewer of a play, I'm liking incorporating those things where it's like you're questioning what you're watching, like even with the beginning part being like, man, you're watching it like fail in real time.
And it seems like you're watching a poorly developed, poorly produced, poorly acted play there where they can't remember the lines. And it's like, that's in fiction,
intentional. Or like the idea of someone watching it in a different space with a different cast and being like, it's interesting that this location is just whatever the actual building is where the play takes place.
And here's another point I was gonna make. A resolution for this film, when he comes back to the modern day, he comes back to this. He still doesn't have his apartment or anything, but he goes back to the community because he's learned about writing and stuff, and like maybe he was trying at first when he was living there. He was trying to do a one-man play by himself on the street, but he was just kind of humiliating himself, and because still nobody liked his work at this point, and nobody was giving him any money or anything, and this is why he like gave up and crawled up inside the abandoned theater, basically to die. But instead, he goes on this journey. He comes back having written a play that the people in the community actually like. Because why? Because like this is the whole way. Because it's honest, and he performs it. He performs it to them. Not expecting money, and he just performs it to them to be accepted back. This honest play, like trying to talk about, why he was, his mistakes for basically not accepting them and being like, grossed out by their community and be like freaking out and running away and rejecting them, you know, and being like, I was a big dummy, like, please have me back. And was like, hey, you know what, this is much better than anything else you've done.
Yeah.
And then what you reel out for the play is that he does not a one-man play, but something that they're all in on. It's like this big production that they're just doing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like there's literally a hat in
Okay.
front of them, like
You
they're
know
just
what it
doing
is?
this live on the street.
The end
Street
scene
plays.
needs to be a segment of a play that's like written by the guy that has all the people from that community, but it's got to be like a musical number. I feel like that's got the pizzazz to really.
Yeah.
That's a play. That's a play.
Especially if the whole thing isn't a musical. Like, this
Yeah,
is a play.
that's the thing.
But just like for
Especially-
2 minutes at the end, it's like
it's a play,
crazy
and then
bad musical.
At the end, it just it's not just it turns into a musical, but it's like a play where at the height of it, they're like, dang, there's a. Since when can these people also sing and like perform too? Like, I don't know. I just like that like additional jump because again,
that is a leap.
as
That's good.
a viewer watching a play, that's where you're like,
it brings you back to that place of
Yeah.
like whatever, which is where you started. So it
Yeah.
makes sense to leave them
Yeah.
in a place of like shock.
Yeah.
That is good. I
You,
like
you want that ending
that. To be
when-
equally wild.
because sure, like when you walk out of the experience, right? Some people are gonna try to like talk about how it was as a whole.
You know
and
what? Actually,
You want that like the
Can
first
I-
couple things that they're thinking about when they're like coming back to it is being like, oh man, the ending, what I just walked out of,
It's
that
like
was
the same as the
crazy.
beginning,
That was, like, the
but
same
it's
as- and then,
different.
like trying to like.
you know what we could do is it's bad again, basically. Like they're messing up, but it's the first time they're doing it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like they haven't read their lines or anything. Like they kind of
they're like, you know, just rolling
this
with
is all
it.
very makeshift.
Mhm.
However, because these people all like each other and have accepted our character back, Rex Hercules,
Rex
or Rex
Hercules.
Sophocles, maybe.
I
Rex Hercules sounds better.
Yeah, Rex
Um,
Hercules. I'm kind of
Especially for somebody,
It's really
it sounds like
starting to
the
stick.
the pseudonym of somebody who was famous in like a few decades in the past. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's like
It
sounds
really
like it
does
used to
sound-
be cool,
yeah.
but it isn't anymore.
Yeah.
It's a great name, Rex Hercules.
It really does sound like washed up.
It's awesome.
Like, that's what
it
it is.
sounds like a washed. That's
That's
exactly what
That's
it is.
really what it
It
is.
sounds like he's washed up. It's perfect. Okay, so he's does the play with them, and they go and perform it, and they're messing up and stuff, but they're all laughing and having a good
Yeah,
time, and so
yeah.
people are actually like watching it and giving them money and stuff because they actually like what they're doing, as opposed to the beginning where it was like the same thing from him, where the play wasn't very well produced, but it was not like accepted in that, like, and he's just in a
Yeah.
different kind of world. Like he's back in the normal world, he's back in the modern day, but he's changed, and kind of his world has changed too. So that's a really good, I think,
Yeah.
a good way to, you know, for that symbolism, like beginning to end, kind of wrap it up with
Yeah.
the bow thing real easily.
Like he's got a whole worldview change.
And it kind of, the world goes with him.
Yeah, that's nice.
So we got the beginning and the ending kind of like quarters, I feel like. Or the ending, maybe we have less than a quarter, but you know, roughly, you know what I'm saying.
We got some change there.
the first act and the last act. We're just lacking the middle. Let's see how quick we can do it.
Okay.
We got to go from he goes into the theater to basically to die, which is good because remember, this is the play that will save his life.
Yeah.
So then
yeah,
it
yeah.
goes on either this actual time travel or hallucination. It's going to be maybe one of those where it's not sure which one it is. Like, again, like a Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
No, screw it. This one's a real time travel. I want Talia to just be a real character. That's important to me.
Talia's a real character.
That's important to me, yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
Talia comes to save him because he's about to die.
Maybe
And
that's the other thing is that going back to the present, Talia's like, yeah, man, I was sent with like a one-way pass. Like I can go there once to like bring you.
and it's like,
but now
who
I'm
do
back
we
in
need
my
to talk
time.
to now?
Yeah.
Zeus. And it's like that's like your fourth act out of the 5, right? If the fifth act is he comes back and produces a play with his friends in the homeless community.
Oh man.
The fourth act is whatever they have to do to impress. I mean, they gotta write a play to impress Zeus. They gotta write a play. He has to write.
Zeus is like, I don't know.
And he's like, okay, you're right. Like, he is ready to go back to the future. And Zeus,
back to the present. Back to the
back
present.
to the present. It's the present. It's the present. Back to the present. Let's put that post-it somewhere that says "Back to the Present."
How has that not been made yet?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
We'll make that as a later point. Back to the present. It's got to be something. It's like we could have made that for Christmas, dang it.
Man, I still want to do
that Christmas
episode 4 next Christmas.
Next Christmas? Would be great.
Christmas 2023. Because then people are going to be like, oh man, I forgot about that. I don't remember that being a thing.
The revival.
Mm-hmm.
The hibernation, rather, because it's winter. So they got to impress Zeus with a play, maybe. So or somehow they have to impress Zeus in the fourth act. Fifth act, he comes back and produces that one. He's at peace now with those people and in the world that he can live with. And he's like, because the lesson he learned from Talia was to accept this intimate part of it and be like, oh, I'm okay with my world being this little slice and not the whole big world that it was before when I was like famous and traveling to different cities all the time and different stuff like that. I'm okay with this little slice of life being my world. And, like, that's the lesson there, as well as the lesson about seeing his own flaws and being more humble by the end that way with his writing and with just how he is. So somehow maybe let's kind of work our way backwards here. Let's talk about this Zeus moment, because that I think is because she's like, I only had the one-way ticket. Man, I love that like extra problem that comes in at the end.
Yeah,
and it's like we got to somehow get permission from Zeus to go back to the present, and what do they have to do? And it's got to be something. Somehow it's about being humble or something. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be somehow like thematic that way. And it's like, this is like the test of humility.
I feel like he's gotta go up there and ask to be sent back to the present, and he's like, why?
You're actually, you know what? You're right. Actually,
is just like, why? Why should I? And then the guy's got to be like, well, I mean, and try to explain his way out and be like,
because Zeus is expecting him to say. He's like, because now I know what I need to know to go and be famous again. Or he's like, I know I can do it. Zeus is expecting him to say something like that, and it's be about him. But instead he's like, I can help, the people that tried to help me, that I turned my back on. And he's like, gonna go back to the little community and make it better for them and make his life better there too. Like, and because of the lessons that he's learned. He's like, and he's humble. He gives the humble answer. So let's do because we want to get as much as we can out of this and get like a full feature-length play, so to speak. I don't know if that's the right word. We're gonna get
feature-length play
out of this. Let's have Act 4 is like they do put on a play for Zeus, and that's maybe just funny or whatever. Again, comedy's part of the thing. Comedy's part of Talia's thing.
So
this is great.
If there's a legit, because then that's another moment where the audience can be like, oh wait, this is nothing like that play from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't feel stale and awkward.
Right.
Like, this is actually kind of funny.
Oh, yeah, and then it feels like part of it's talking about, plant, reminder, and payoff. Like, then you have the third play at the end where he's really learned everything fully.
Yeah.
And, like, you see the progress of it. So you have different plays. That's great.
Good to have those.
This fourth one, I think, fails still for some reason. Maybe he's still not quite humble enough, whatever it is, because for whatever reason, you remember Zeus wasn't going to send him back, still doesn't think he's ready. And then he pleads, though. He's like, Zeus, please send me back. And he's like, I'm begging. And, like, you don't know how hard we worked on this and everything. He's like, why should I send you back? And then what we talked about before. So that gives you... Because that gives you, like, a whole like, arc and, like, a moment of, like, it's not going to work, and then he saves it at the end, which is great.
To have that extra, like...
And it's like, the stakes are he's going to be in ancient times forever. Like, he's going to be stuck in...
Those are
BC.
Big stakes.
Yeah. He's not going to come back to Philadelphia. He's going to be stuck in BC.
Right? Like, I want to go back to my time. We had... horse-drawn carriages.
I'm done with farming now. Like, I'm so tired.
I just want city life back.
Yeah.
I just want to hear, I don't know,
like,
do
oh, here's
cars
some
exist
cars
at
and
this
stuff.
point? Is this like 60s?
Oh yeah, I'm saying it's modern day Philadelphia
Okay,
when it
okay.
starts. It has to be like 2023.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
yeah, if we're gonna do the time travel thing, that's how I want to start.
It's got to start in.
Yeah, let's do
current
that.
day.
Let's just start it real grounded.
All right. Yeah, that is good then.
And then
Yeah.
go to ancient Greece, and it's like Zeus is like, no, I don't care. Like if you're stuck here, whatever. Like it's like I'm Zeus. Like I have.
Yeah, he's like-
I'm busy. Like,
Right? Like-
you're stuck in. You're one guy. Do you have any idea how like I have to deal with?
You're so upset. I'll throw you in the like militia. I'll give you something to do.
He's like, I'll make you a king, and he's like,
Yeah, like-
oh, but I have to go back. Like he's like, really? You don't want to be? Oh my god! Well, this guy sucks. He's not even grateful. And then he's like, then he, this is all part of that scene. Like right before he goes, he's literally like making him a king and stuff, offering to make him a god or whatever. But he's just like gonna. Well, I guess that's too far. But like,
even something that could be good is like having his own place, his own theater in that age.
yeah, even just being
Yeah,
a
and being, like-
successful player, that's better. Yeah,
And he's like, yeah, we can
having his own theater
we
and
have
having his
empty
own play.
theater. There's
He's like, I
people
can
who
give
are
it all to you.
hungry, waiting to watch anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy's got
It's ancient time. Do you know how many playwrights we have? It's like
There's
it's like 17. Like
right.
we
You
could
just
get another
learned
one.
from half of them. Like,
You could meet half of them by going to 2 cities.
I mean, I'm not trying to infer anything, but if you traveled back in time here, you could probably beat a couple of them to their
Honestly,
own stories.
Yeah, honestly, you should be asking me to go back, but like go in reverse. Like you want to go to the future. You mean like with global warming?
You
Like, he
want to
looks
go
at
back.
Talia, Is this guy for real? No, yeah, but okay, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Act 4. Man, this is great. We just need like. I feel like we talked about Act 1 being when he's at the theater originally. Act 2 though is like the first time he's in the homeless community, but he hates it and he's like not ready to live there.
Yeah, and
So
by
Act
the end
3,
of
I
the
guess,
night,
would
he
be
like dips to go to
he
the.
dips and goes to the abandoned theater. He's
theater.
like starving. He's like, I guess there's nothing I can do, and he's like gonna die. Talia comes to save him because he once was successful, and like the gods know like he has something to add to playwriting. Maybe it's like the grandfather paradox or whatever. He ends up like teaching Sophocles.
Yeah,
like,
that would be. he gets some student who's like, yeah, who are you? And he's like, oh yeah, that would be good.
that would be awesome. That's funny.
That honestly, that's better than what I was
Not
gonna
even
pitch.
like gets him as a student, but like
Yeah.
just as a cameo appearance as Sophocles,
Yeah.
and he's like he like tells him something about playwriting or something as like passing as like Sophocles is like a child, you know what I mean? He's like, oh really? Like, yeah, I don't know, or even, who wrote? We said Sophocles wrote Oedipus, right? Or was that yeah? So then he could be. Sophocles is always trying to write comedies, and this could be in a scene where this could be like whatever point in the play that Rex is like kind of fed up with Talia, you know what I mean? And they're kind of like, they're almost gonna like not be friends, and he's like he hears Sophocles talking about writing comedies, and he's like in his little like notebook or whatever. He's like a kid, remember? And he's like, not everything has to be a comedy. Write some tragedies or something. You know what I mean? And the kid's like, you okay? And he's like,
you gotta have a point.
and he's like, and you see him write down Oedipus and underline it on the next page.
he's gotta say like his name somewhere
that would
too.
be awesome.
'Cause then
I love that.
That's funny to have the concept.
Yeah,
of
no, he's definitely got to
the-
say that he's Sophocles. Like his parents would be like, "Come on now, Sophocles."
Well, not
Like-
only that, but on the other end, the Oedipus, the latter half of the title being Oedipus Rex, then you would be able to infer that the Rex part is actually the original source is from the dude, rather than it being
What's
from.
your name? Yeah, Rex.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rex. Come on, Sophocles. Perfect. And it's just Rex.
He's like,
And then you
"This is
just
gold."
that's all you just that takes 1 minute in the play for that to happen. And then just like child Sophocles walks off, exits with his parents. Like that's just doesn't even need to be anything else.
Sophocles. Imagine casting child Sophocles. That's so fun.
So what's happening between when he gets into the past? I'm assuming like he learns what he needs to learn is the action in Act 3, because I think it seems like the beginning of Act 4 was when he realizes they don't have a ticket back. Talia's like, yeah, I had only a one-way ticket just to get you back here. I didn't realize you needed to go back into the present. Like, oh yeah, okay, so Act 3 then is him becoming set up to be a successful playwright. Or whatever, right? And then kind of the whole plan that was worked out between Talia and Zeus was to bring him back to have a better life.
Yeah, build up the city here. Like and Zeus is seeing it as beneficial because
beneficial to his time. Yeah, like
that brings
people.
This
guy from the future who was homeless, who was a beggar in his time, who was literally
moments away
from death. So he'll be grateful.
Yeah,
you know. And so
I like the idea of Zeus getting
that's good.
Like an. I don't know.
And so Zeus is pissed off that he's not grateful. You know what I mean?
He's getting.
That's why he won't send him back.
He's getting some kind of notification that's like, oh yeah, this guy could be saved right about now. Looks like he could do some good in this. Like I don't know. I'm imagining like a quest line, like he's getting some objectives on the giant map of, I don't know, controlling all of that land territory.
Okay, so. Yeah, he's doing some kind of game with the other gods or something, and he's trying to build up this city, whatever. But yeah, he's like brings them back because he's moments away from death, so they're like he's not gonna ask to go back or whatever. And they bring him back to like be this successful playwright or whatever, and that's like the first part of him being in the past. But he's not grateful. He wants to go back, but they need permission from Zeus, so they put on this big play. And he's like, at this point, he's learned somehow from Talia, his mentor, in Act 3. He's learned somehow about being more humble and writing about plays with flaws instead of just perfect characters, because that was the thing he was doing wrong in his old age or whatever, losing his touch. Like he just starting to see himself as he wouldn't accept his flaws, and so he's just writing these perfect characters in his own what he thought was his image. So she teaches him to write better characters, and then so he writes this good play for Zeus, but Zeus doesn't quite like it because he's just like still like, wait, what do you mean you want to go back? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna die. You're basically about to die. But he's like, no, you need to send me back. And you're like, my friends need me or something.
Please.
Maybe there's even we plant like the stakes of they're pretty comfortable there, but like they're really like it seems like he's the only one that's not comfortable there. But then you also like he finds out from one of the like buddy characters in the community that like they're just not making enough money this year for some reason. You know what I mean? Like they're actually all gonna probably starve or something. Like even the people who are making money in there. Yeah. And so he's like he can save them with this play. Like and he goes back and that's how he saves them, and like that, and then settles himself into the intimate part of life. I think we got every act of the play right there.
Oh my goodness, that's a play.
It's been a while. I think we should probably cut and go to the kind of wrap up maybe, and then do a final word. What are you thinking? I mean, we got the whole acts right there. Do you want to just do the final word? Are we missing anything? We got to do Dio. Shout out to Dio Landon. Shout out to all of our friends on Buy LSD online.
Yeah. Shout out.
Remember to go to content.gives if you want to be part of the show.
Yeah.
Like our friend Dio was today.
Yeah. Dio, you've submitted an amazing idea. Feel free to submit another one.
Thanks for kicking off 2023, Dio Landon.
Thank you, Dio. I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life.
All right, let's do the final word. You ready?
Yeah.
You want to go first?
B.
Ready.
4.
20.
Pigeons.
R.
Coming.
Hide.
Be ready for 20 pigeons are coming. Hide.
It's Content Factory, the show where it gets made. I'm Carson DeAngelis. Bigfoot, micro penis.
I'm Zave, Davey. Abominable show, man. I don't even remember if that's what it was, man. This has been Content Factory. Yeah, man. Enjoy your night or day or time of whatever time it is when you're listening to this. And I hope you have a good year. I hope your 2022 is great. I hope you're also excited for 2023 because we have a lot in store. Thank you. And buckle up, because this is only the beginning of the ride, friends.
And research earthen construction.
Quick, cut it.